I'm going to show you how to use the Britain's Wrecker service site in this video. So to log in, you'll go to your URL /wp-admin, and then you'll put in the username and password that I've given you, and it'll take you here to the back end where everything is located that you need to use to change and edit your site. Everything that you need to worry about is over here on the left hand column in this black column. This stuff over here isn't really important, so everything is going to be in this column that you need. So we'll just go down the list and talk about each thing. So the first thing is updates, and that's basically the plugins and themes that build and create your site. And if you want to update them, you can select them all and click update. But we regularly go through and do that with all of our sites, so you never have to worry about this ever. If you don't want to, we go in and do that twice monthly for every site that we host. So someone will do that for you. But that's what that is, if you were wanting to know, just so that you know. Posts would be like if you had blog posts on your site, which you're not currently using that function, so I'm not going to mention anything else there. Media, this is just your media library where all your photos, graphics, and logos are located. So if you need to add more media, you can add media through this button here or this button here and click add new and either select files or drop them right here. And anytime that you need to add media, there will be a button within whatever other plugin you're using or whatever function over here you're using. You don't actually have to come to the library to do it, but you can look at your images, see what size they are, get the URL for that specific image. You can crop the image or you can rotate it through the edit button. If it's uploaded the wrong way, you can rotate it, click save. You can change the dimensions of it, things like that if you need to. Probably don't see that that's going to be likely, but if you did, that's how you would update it and change it. Forms, this is the contact form and the request a quote form that you have on your site. So forms function, if you click on them there, then you've got, this one's pretty basic. So you've got a name field, phone number, and a message field. These can be duplicated. You can drag them and rearrange them. You can click this arrow and you can change the label of the field. If you want to put something else in this form, you can choose from any of these fields over here. So if you click something like name, date, phone number, time, address, email, it'll come up over here. And so then I can say field label email, and I can drag it. I can drag it if I can do it right. Drag it right here. And I can delete it if I want. And then you would just click update if you make any changes that you want to keep. So all your fields are over here. You click them to add them. And then, like I said, you can change the way they're labeled. So if you just added a single line of text, then that would just be a single line of text. You can change the label to say whatever you want and people can fill that in. If you want to see your form entries, then you just kind of hover over either form, and you can either see your entries for this form or the other form right there. And you can also change the notifications. So if you want to add another notification, you can click add new, or you can just edit this one if it doesn't have the right email. So you can just click it and then change this email here. And you can change the name so that you'd say like whoever's name this is going to or whatever. And you don't have to change anything else because the from email doesn't matter. The send to email would be the thing that matters. And then slide down here and click update notification. So let me look at the other form and see if it's more complicated, if there's anything else we need to talk about here. So basically this one's pretty simple as well. It works the same way. If you want to add, these are just single line text fields. If you want to change the wording on any of these, you can do that. You can rearrange them by dragging them or add any new fields through here and click update if you make any changes. And that's basically everything that has your entries, your notifications, and how to create the fields. So let's move to pages. Pages, you have a few different pages including the home page. So let's talk about the home page first. That's what you see as the front page. That's why it says front page. So I'm going to open up another tab so that we can see what I'm talking about. So this stuff up here is in the header and the stuff at the bottom is in the footer. So neither of those things are done through the page function. So this right here is a revolution slider. So all that's in the first section of the home page, there's a little arrow here and you can see this page section is called slider. So if I put this little arrow down, I can see there's shortcode here for the revolution slider. And it's right there. So I don't have to do anything there. There's nothing else done there. That's all done through revolution slider, which I'll show you how to use when we get down further in the list. So then the next section, if you see this little arrow, if I click down, is the about section. And so whatever is put right here doesn't show up on the page. That's just for your reference. So you can see you've got this information here. So all this is just centered. You've got, this is a larger text. You can see it's heading 1 and then this stuff is heading 2. Then this is hyperlinked so that if you click it from a mobile phone, it will call that phone number. So the way you would do that if you want to hyperlink something is you highlight whatever you hyperlink, and if you want to, you can type in any URL or you can do any page here, or you can do any email. All you would need to do is put mail to first and then paste the email there. Or if it's a telephone number, then it's telephone like that, short for telephone, and then the number with no markings in between it. And then you'd click this apply, and then you can click this to remove it. And then you would click update. Anytime you make a change to any one of these sections, you would want to go over and click update. And if you scroll down, you can see what's in the background and how that's formatted. And on this page, there is no background image and there is no background color. It's just white. There is padding on this so that there's extra space on either side of the words so that it looks nice and clean. It's 100% width, so that means it's not a half width section, which you don't have any on your site. They're all full width, so makes sense. Okay, so then the next section would be this services section, so we'll look at that. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse this section so that it's not still open. So services. What you have here is all of your text. Again, this is in heading 1, that larger font, and then the rest is in paragraph. And so you can choose any of these font sizes. You can bold, you can italicize, you can bullet a list, you can align or justify however you want. Again, you can hyperlink. You can add a picture within that section, any of these pictures, and then you just click insert into page and it's going to go wherever your cursor is at that moment. And we've also have this shortcode here which allows it to be into columns like this. And when you put things in columns, a lot of times the bullets don't look nice, so that's why these lists aren't bulleted. It looks much better without the bullets. So if you end up wanting to create third columns, then that would be done through using 1/3 columns. So let's say you add additional services, then you would add the shortcode for 1/3 columns. And you might need help with something like that, but if you could recreate kind of what is done here with the half, that is, then you could do that with thirds. But again, if you had questions along the way, you can always ask for help. And then all of this text is, you'll see if you highlight it all, is formatted as white text so that it shows up as white text on the site. So the header, the content, it's all white. And this one does have a background image. So if you want to change this image out, you can either edit it or delete it and then add a new image. And then if you scroll down, you see that there's a color overlay. And so it's a dark black, but we've got it so that it's a little bit transparent. So there's a color overlay, but you can still kind of see the picture in the background, which gives it that nice feel. It's not so plain or bland. It gives it a nice dynamic feel. So then we'll go to the next section. That's basically everything, and again, it's a full width section. So the next section is about us. So let's take a look at how that one is created. And like I said, you can add a photo within a section. That's what's done here. And so if you want to edit this photo, you click that little pencil and you can center it or align it differently. You can make it smaller if you wanted to, or you can make it a custom size if you'd like to. You can link the photo to a custom URL and then paste that URL there, but we don't want to do that. And then you click update once you make any changes. And then down here is about Britain's Wrecker service. So you can change the wording on this, and then you can also, again, this is hyperlinked, and you can change this to link to a different page if you wanted to, or have it say something like, visit us on Facebook and link it to your Facebook page or something like that if you chose to change this section. And then you'll also notice on this section that looks more like a button, and that's done in the same way that we did white text under formats. Instead of white text, we select button, and that's all you'd have to do, and just make sure you link it to the appropriate place. And this one just has a white background with no picture in the back and nothing special in the settings on that one. And the next one is also a slider, and so that's just your video slider here. And all that we have on this section is shortcode, just like for the first slider on the beginning of the page. And then this stuff here, like I said, is in the footer. So I will show you kind of how to update that kind of stuff in just a moment. So let's look at the other pages. Again, you would want to hit updater if you were making changes you actually wanted to keep. On these other pages, we have the About Us page. Basically kind of works the same way. There's these sections, but you only have one section on these pages you have the picture, you have the text, and you can make any text edits that you need, and then you would come over here and click update. And Contact Us page just has the shortcode for the form, and so that's just added by clicking Add Form. Select a form, and don't want to display the title or the description, and then it inserts the code for you wherever your cursor was. Again, and you click Update if you needed to make changes there. Again, I'm going to leave the page without saving anything because I don't need to. And then under the Gallery page, this just has shortcode as well. It has the word photos and then the word videos, but it just has shortcode for your FooGallery, which I will talk about here in just a moment. Over here, that's another plugin, so if you'll look, that's just shortcode. And then we've also got it linked up with your YouTube channel, so don't have to worry about updating anything through these actual pages. And the same goes for the equipment page, because that's done through a FooGallery as well. And the only thing you'd have to do is update the gallery. You don't have to update the page because there's nothing to update. It's just that shortcode. So let's move to FooGallery and talk about those galleries. Comments would be like if you had a blog that enabled comments, so we don't need to worry about that. We'll look at FooGallery, and you have the equipment and the gallery page. So on the gallery page, these are set up and formatted exactly how you need. So let's look at the gallery page. So this is formatted so that it'll look like this, and that you can scroll through like this, X out the image as needed. So you don't have captions on these photos or anything like that. And it looks great as is. So the only thing you'd have to do is, if you wanted to get rid of a photo, is click the X. You can drag them to rearrange them. You can add media through here and either select files from the media library or upload files through here. And then once you do that, click update, and it'll automatically adjust on the page. And sometimes things don't appear right away, so you maybe just need to give it a second, and then you just would hit the refresh button. And so then the same would go for the equipment page. The only thing that you would need to update or worry about changing is deleting a photo, dragging and rearranging the photo, or adding media. And then you just click update. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And if you have any troubles, obviously you can let us know, but that should be pretty good. Genesis is your theme, nothing to really change or mess with there. Appearance has two items that we need to talk about, and that's widgets and menus. And under widgets, we have the header and footer stuff that we were talking about earlier. So you have this section here that's kind of the before the header, and a menu. So that's all done through here. So header right, that's where your logo is. So you can, if you need to update your logo, you can upload a file or choose one from the media library again. And then the size is changed through here, the size of how it appears on your homepage. And then it links to your homepage there. So you'll want to make sure that it's linked. And click save if you make any changes. Custom menu, that's just the menu that we've already created. So these things you're probably not going to want to or need to change. Nothing on the sidebar. Before header is this visual editor that has this stuff up here. And if you, let's say, want to change the text here or the phone number needs to change, and like I showed you how to change the hyperlink, you can remove it or change it. And then the request a quote button links to the request a quote section of the page down here. So if you end up needing to fix anything here, that's all formatted through coding. So that's just where that is. So if you need to make any changes there, you might need some help unless you're familiar with code, which we can always help in that case. So footer 1 is the next thing that we have stuff on. And that's down here where we have this map and then all of this information here. So if you want to change the title of the map so that it says something other than "We are here to serve," that can be changed there. You only have one map and it's the footer map. And so you wouldn't want to change anything there because we've got all 3 of those locations viewable through there. And under visual editor, this is the information that's underneath here. So this is stuff with the phone numbers and addresses. So if any of this changes, again, this just kind of works like the pages section, and any of the same elements are available for you here, and the different sizes, the hyperlink for the phone number, and then we created this payments accepted section for you. So if there's changes, then you can make them and then click save in the corner. And the request a quote form is found here. If you want to change it to the contact us form, you could do that. If you want to create a new form and then have it there, then you can do that as well. And click save. And then that's everything. And then we have a social media menu, yes, underneath that as well. Right here. And then the visual editor with the views of the page. So probably not a whole lot you're going to change in the footer there. If there is something that you try to change and then you feel like it doesn't look right or things get messed up, then you can let us know. So the next thing we'll talk about is menus, and you have the menu on your homepage at the top and then that social media button at the bottom for Facebook. So these are done through menus, and you have 4 pages plus the homepage here. We don't have the homepage on the menu, it's just the logo that serves as the homepage button. And you have the About Us page. You can see it says page, the gallery page, equipment page, and the Contact Us page all link to that page. So if you created a new page, which you can do if you'd like, then it shows up here. And then you select whatever page it is and then add it to the menu. And then since you already have, a good number of things in the menu, you can also make those like a sub menu item so that it doesn't create a new space, but rather when you hovered over the item, it would show up right here. And if you decide you want to change the name of the label from the name of the page and make them different, you can change that or you can remove it and then always click Save Menu. The locations and services are custom links, so that's done through here. Custom link, you can make the label whatever you want and then put the URL here. And we have put in an anchor text so that it just slides to the appropriate part of the page where services is located. So if you end up wanting to add a new section to your home page, then you can do that through you can add a new section, and then you can add anchor text, or if you end up needing help on how to do that, we can show you how. So if you So in the home page, if you wanted to add a new section, another section, that's just done by adding a section wherever you want to add it through this is removing a section, or if you wanted to add a section, then you would hit the plus section. So if you add a row, then it's going to add wherever you push the plus sign. If you wanted to add a row at the bottom, then you would do it on the very last one here. And they can be dragged and rearranged on this page as well. So you can add a row, and then you give it a title and put whatever information you want there. And if you need help creating let me remove that. If you need help creating a anchor text to make that a menu item work, then we could help do something like that. And so let's go back to menus. And for the social media section, if you want to look at the social media menu, you select the social media one from menus. And then if you want to add a link to YouTube or another social media, then what you're going to do is go to custom links and just duplicate what you see here. Just replicate it. So copy that, paste it here, and then wherever it says Facebook, so it says Facebook here, then you would change that to say, and then put your YouTube URL here, and then click add to menu, and then click save menu. And that's how you use the menus function. Plugins, again, that was what was up here earlier that we talked about. It just slid down here. So if you have a plugin that you want to add or add new, that's what the updates are available. So some plugins need to be updated. Anyway, then there's probably not anything you're going to want to add or change under plugins. That's what's used to create and build your site. Users. This is where your username and password are located. So if you click on yours, you can change the role of the site, and you can change your password here as well. And if you want to add a new user, you can do that. You just need an email. Username, email is required, and then you can generate a password here, and you can make them an administrator where they can make changes as well. You can change the password, and you'll just want to be careful who you give access to your site and how strong or weak your password is. Tools and settings, I'm not going to touch on anything there. I'm not going to touch on anything in custom fields or SEO either. Duplicator is what's used to launch your site. FooBox is just a plugin that helps make those Foo galleries look nice. And there's nothing we need to talk about here. Same with multi-plugin installer, just used in the site. There's nothing that you'd have to know about it. Slider Revolution is the next thing we're going to talk about, and that's what creates those two sliders on the home page, the video and then the slider here at the top. So video work, let's look at that one first. And what we have is link to the video that's on your site here. So if you want to change out the video, then you would change it by going to the media library, finding whatever video that you've uploaded, and getting the URL here. So copy it and then paste it here. And then anytime you make a change, click Save Change. And so for the source info, what we have here is we're using a picture for if it gets to the end of the video, or if we need a picture, if the slide becomes static, then that's just there. but it's on a loop, so it shouldn't ever show that picture. So basically, if you want to change out the video, that'd be where you change it. And I don't think, yeah, there's nothing here. So if you want to change out the video, then you just click Save Slide. So back to all sliders, then we have this slider that's at the top of the page. That's this one. And this one just has pictures in the background. So if you wanted to, let's see. If you notice, they kind of zoom in and out. So it's this one zooms in and then the next one zooms out. You can see that if I click on these slides here, there is nothing over the top of it. So that's a static layer. But how that zoom effect is created is through Ken Burns, this little button here. And we've made the background of the position of the photo so that it's nice and centered and looks good. And then we've changed the scale in % here. The easiest way for you to understand and maybe recreate what you see here is just to duplicate a slide. So if I click duplicate, it'll just duplicate and I'll have another one. And I can make it invisible if I want. And I can edit it and change the placement. I can change the scale. And if you want to, you can delete it. You can also drag these to other places. But as long as this red mark is there, then it won't appear on the homepage. So we want to look at the static global layers, what we want to look at, because this is what's over the top of all the slides. And you can see it here without anything under it, or you can show it on the slide here. So if you want to change any of this text, just double click it and you can change it. What the wording is, there's a line here and then there's kind of a transparent box here. So if you want to change this, the color is here, the text size is here, the font is here. So this one is a little bit of a different font. Again, the size, the weight of the font, if you want it to be fatter or thinner. The color is here and you can change it to whatever you'd like. And then if you change it, it just has to make sure it fits within the bounds on each screen size that people would be viewing your site through. And I don't foresee you wanting to change that, but that's where all that stuff is located. You just want to always make sure that your line height is equal to or greater than your font size. You want to make sure everything is aligned in the center and the middle so that it looks nice and good. And then if you want to edit this box, you can drag it or make it larger or smaller. And that's the main things there. I don't think I'm going to go into too much more detail. Seems like this is probably something you won't change much or do much with. So we'll move to WordFence is just a protective plugin, and we get email updates to make sure that nothing is happening that's strange or weird activity on your site. And Google Maps is the last thing we really need to talk about, and this is how we created the map on the footer. So if you ever do need to add another location, you would do that through add location, and you would just give your location a title and then copy and paste or type in your address. So once you start typing in an address, it gives you suggestions, and then once you click it, it fills in everything else for you. And then also you'll want to click redirect, and you'll want to paste the Google Maps URL here so that when they click on the button, it takes them directly to directions. So you would just copy and paste this and put it here. And then click Save Location. Then manage locations if you need to edit any of these. then you can go in and it gives you the same page, but with all the information already there, and then you can just change whatever needs to be changed. And manage maps. So then you'd go to manage maps. We have this footer map, and then if you create a new location, it's going to show up down here, and you just select it, and then it will show up there. And all this stuff is set up so that it looks nice, it's the right size, it's zoomed out appropriately so people can see all 3 locations, and when you scroll, it doesn't scroll through the map. So all this formatting is set up so that it'll look nice and good. So there's nothing that you would want to change there. But again, if you wanted to add another map, then you would go to add map and then give it a title, give it a width, give it a height, a zoom level, and then go through all these other different settings and then select whichever locations you wanted to use. And then if you go to manage maps here, you can see the shortcode for your map if you ever want to put it on a page or anything like that. And that's the last thing, Pods Admin. There's nothing really we've got to talk about there. So if you end up needing help with anything, let us know, but this should get you a good start.